So for those who weren't there last time and also those who are here, community case studies. Every month we have these case study calls. And just a few words about myself in the beginning. So yeah, last time I talked a bit more. Just as a reminder, I have more than 20 years actually of research and living in eco-villages and intentional communities here in Germany and Austria. At the moment I'm in Germany and tomorrow going to Switzerland. So it's all exciting at the moment. And I have researched from an academic point of view also and published a lot that you can see also on my website. There's also a lot in English available for download. And yeah, my main topic is like sustainable ways of living, communal ways of living in eco-villages and intentional communities. And I'm coordinating also interested people in Austria from the Global Ecovillage Network, and now Cynthia from Ecovillage meetings. That's how we came together. And the last 2 years, I'm living now in my tiny houses at a biological farm in Austria. So because I lived also many years in the Ecovillage of Sieben Linden, which I will present to you as a case study today. So, and I'm quite excited because the day after tomorrow, this exhibition, the New Earth Expo, starts, where also new communities is a large topic. And it's a big exhibition expo in Switzerland. And this topic of communities is really coming more into the broad society in very different context and background. So, and that's here in Switzerland in a quite, wow, I will see, close to Zurich. Yeah. Now, next slide. Somehow, now it works. Yeah, and today, the topic will be how to find agreements on communal living frames and settings. This is also what you were sent before in the email to check the cases of Gaia Yoga Garden, Hawaii, and the Ecovillage Sieben Linden in Germany. So, and all these questions around what wants to be shared, what is private, what is actually, the main goals of the community. So how this can be put into practice and how and where do we come from and bring the people together so that really a common goal can be developed. The schedule for today, and I guess for the calls we have now, the case study calls look like this. So I start with a presentation on this topic and present the case examples. And then you have around 20 minutes in the breakout groups that Lauren will put you into. And there you can share about what you have heard about the topic and whatever also is the state of the art of your project that you're working on right now. And after this, we have space for sharing highlights from the breakouts and also clarifying questions that might help and support you in your further project. Yeah, so this very dense slide I brought already last time, and I want to remember. So clarifying the vision, this is definitely something very important on your way to create, to set up community, and not necessarily only in the beginning, but also again and again. If you notice, there is not, something unclarified. And also what communities experience is when they go together more closely, when you plan the community, and then even if you have a place to live together or so, then new topics will pop up and you will notice, okay, we have to clarify this as well. So this is probably an ongoing process. And what I said already last time, it's the better, I mean, the earlier you clarify many of these questions, the clearer the group can be and the less conflicts will probably arise. So I guess I have to switch the light on because here it's already 8 at night. It's getting dark. So yeah, and for example, these things like pets, animals, gardening, and so on. So you can use the slide then also afterwards to go through it. And I will go further now to give you a bit the idea, because I mean, my background is also as a sociologist. I studied, of course, the existing societies that we were socialized in. I mean, in the USA, in Europe, we are living in these so-called Western societies where the individual is very strong and community is actually a quality that is not so popular or was not so popular for many decades. So it's just something to keep in mind that we come from this individualized background with 50% single households in the big cities, and that of course this individual also have advantage. We have a lot of freedom, we can decide on ourselves, and of course we want to keep this and not going back to old communities where there was more restrictive rules, because now the new social movements, the new intentional communities are intentional. So they do it like really from a self-motivated and voluntary background. And so that's also with the intention, that you formulate like really how you want to live and negotiate this with your mates. Because there's a lot of conflict potential. And we had that was more than 10 years ago already, where we did this survey amongst, that was in German-speaking area, but still I think it's still up to date in a way. And we asked, so what are you seeking with community? Like people who are interested to move into a community. And the largest, most important point for them was space for individual realization and freedom. So this wants to be combined with community. And also a cozy nest is something that is popular to search for. Encounter and reflection is something important also for personal growth. And of course, pressure, limitations, this is something that nobody really wants. So it's really good to have all these rules and responsible aspects really shared on a common ground beforehand. And also, if you have a look, maybe you can also check if you are in one of these different stages at the moment in your community development. What I observed is that communities go through these different stages, or developmental phases. Like in the beginning, there is the foundation and orientation. There is the ideals are very important, or the founder as a charismatic person is very important. In the second phase, there needs to be some more professional ideas how to organize the community. You need a legal frame, you need financial structure, you need all that. And in the third phase, after years mostly already, this is a waxing and waning also in terms of people coming and going. So take this into account. This is just normal. It's not something that you need to think your community is not good or something. It's normal that people go and new people come, and that's part of the game. I would say also the large communities, so successful in a way, you can call them, they also have this. And then at a later stage, it's always important to kind of reevaluate and see, okay, do we need to change something in the organization, in our intentions, in the goals? So this is an ongoing process. Yeah, and in this process, I can give you this advice to balance these complementaries or opposites, or how you want to call it. Freedom versus commitment. This is also what I said before, that we have a strong sense for freedom in our societies where people come from. But in community, commitment is important, so that this all goes together. And spontaneity versus consistency, so there needs to be some regularity, that you set up regular meetings, but also with a certain flexibility. So to really balance this in a way that you will notice, that when people do not show up, you will say, okay, that's probably too much, or that you find the balance. And then consumption in a way also of that you, as a founder of the community, that you present something or you organize something and people can just be part of it, or that you also leave space for creativity and that people can bring in their ideas and their facilities, their competencies, and so on. And then, of course, also adventure. Adventure versus, humdrum of daily life or something normal, stable, so that you also find a balance between this. Because these are all qualities that touch the heart of the people also, and what they're looking for, and because they want to find a like of home in their community, in this community that you're setting up, probably. So you can keep an eye on where you are at the moment with these complementaries and see what needs to be developed. So, okay, I hope I could give you a general overview about the topic of this. And now we can dive into the cases. So first we have Gaia Garden in Hawaii. And this is a community that I myself don't know at all. So maybe I can give you with this an example how I look into these communities just online, from what I have found. And of course, there is the interview from Cynthia with the Gaia Garden, Gaia Yoga Garden, that you can find in the material, or what was linked to you already before. And this is also what I had as material to look into. So, and what I found and what I heard from the person who was talking in the call is that they had quite very ambitious ideals about social living together. Here, come home to yourself. This is again the individual is coming home, and also having community, like this picture is representing. So, and here the words are also, come and heal, come and grow, come and live freely. So there are a lot of these ideals communicated, and then also living very, very close to nature in Hawaii, of course, which is like living in paradise. It's always warm and so on. So, and if you look a bit closer onto the website, you will also find that the founder, or one of the founders, has published this book and has written a lot about it and has his experiences about this, new life, what he sees as new life, and he sees something about living like in a tribe together, in a clan, like very close, and intimacy and these kind of things here, sharing sexuality. And well, this is of course a certain ideal of community, can have that. And but he also, it seems that there was also challenges, conflicts, and people were hurt and so on. And this was also described a bit more in the article. You can check there. Yeah, and this is interesting to see because, yeah, at the moment it seems that they have not so many residents and they're looking for new ones. So yeah, you see, this is an example of how these intentions and how to put these ideals into practice. Yeah, this is what I see. And he didn't say a lot about the financial rules or so on. Here he says the process to join. Yeah, and this is here these 4 steps, which most of the communities have these 4 steps for joining: contacting, coming, visiting, participating in an immersion, and then becomes sooner or later a resident. And here it was something very nicely formulated, I think. He said metaphorically, in relationship to Gaia Yoga Garden community, it means like work trading or eco-renting is like flirting, so that you have a certain, well, it's not so close yet. Immersion is like dating. Being a resident is like going steady. And then membership, trial membership is getting engaged. Membership is like getting married. So that says a lot already about commitment, you see, freedom and commitment. And it seems that one can choose how far he wants to go. So he offers different stages or different grades, or how do you say, like different, yeah, grades, right, of membership. So how far and how committed you want to be to the core of the community. And I think this is an interesting model. I mean, you don't need to call it getting engaged or married. Yeah, this is a bit strange, I find. But I know other communities who have like similar models, and I can present them another time. And yeah, I think this is good to know, to be clear about the grade of commitment, so how close it is and how far, and yeah, about the process for becoming a resident or member. Yeah, so this is about Gaia Garden, and maybe we can talk about later also. If you have questions, just write it down or put it into the chat as well. And or maybe I can see, cannot see the chat at the moment, so maybe you have put something in it anyway. Yeah. Okay, so then we come to Ecovillage Sieben Linden in Germany, which I know very well because I know it quite almost from the beginning on, from 1998. And I have lived there 3 years later, and I have researched it a lot. So this is really something I can talk a bit more, or you can ask me in detail also. So it has 160 inhabitants now after all these years, and they have a large seminar house with about 6,000 guests per year. So, and they have 270 acres. I think it's what you use in the US, right? In Europe, we use the hectare, for the land they own as a cooperative. It's all owned, I mean, it's in communal ownership. And it's a lot about growing their own food with a factor of 75% self-sufficiency. And Sieben Linden is famous for having developed the straw bale, clay, wood housing technology. Well, technology, it's very something original actually, that even the first house was built without any electricity, just by hand with horses. And yeah, like going to the forest and cutting the trees by hand and bringing with the forest, with the horses and so on. So it's an experiment also for this very this nature close, natural kind of living. Yeah, and this was also the intention from the beginning on, even 2 years before they built the spot there. They were a group meeting each other, and they were all working on these intentions and ideas how to live, yeah, ecologically and communally and so on. So that was quite a process to come there. Yeah, and good. Next slide, because the common ground is something that was negotiated over years. And for instance, there is a kind of farming going on, but it's without animals, because the vegans said from the beginning on, we don't want to keep animals. That's not, yeah, we cannot support this. So, and they have these 7 commitments that say something about, I want to serve life, I want to encounter and love and trust, and I mature, or well, how can I translate this? I try to be really honest, really deeply honest, and like these qualities that are important for communal encounter. If you want to, I can also give you the English translation. I doubt it's on the website. I think there's not much about Sieben Linden in English, right? I didn't find a lot in the internet. So if you're more interested, just write to me and I can send you also something more in English. Yeah, and they have developed this democratic participatory bodies using sociocracy as an organizational method. It's like, yeah, I don't know if you know sociocracy. Yeah, I can, or you can Google it. You can find information on that. It's good if the group is getting larger for organizing the community. It's a good frame to do that, but it takes time to set this up. Yeah, and the principles and rules, it's fine to have them, but always see also the individual and see people first. Like if someone is in an emergency or whatever, then this person will be supported, however the rules are, for instance. Yeah, and the joining process, like what I mentioned already, is here about a year. With what I have also done, the entire process, going through different workshops, yeah, starting with just a getting to know workshop, like getting to know Sieben Linden, and then a bit longer and deeper, where you learn the communication methods, the community methods, how they deal with each other, the conflict resolution, how the community is organized. And then sooner or later, you also need to present yourself with an idea how you want to live there also. Yeah, this is the process they have there. And now some impressions from Sieben Linden. So here's the straw bale buildings, how it is built, and here with the solar energy. These are collectors, actually, just for warm water. And on the right roof, there is the solar for electricity. And in the middle, this is the old farmhouse, which was renovated also with natural materials. And on the lower right side, there is the meditation house, just for meditation. And on the lower left side, you see an example of a trailer home, which has also a lot of those. Yeah. And here from the eco farming with horses and the gardening also by hand a lot, these small gardens, and the orchard. Yeah. And also in terms of mobility, there is a car sharing pool. Most of the cars, I mean, it's all on a voluntary base, you know. It's car sharing, of course, is also cheaper for the person who owns the car. So many share their car with others. And well, the horse is not so usual. That's in Germany, it's very unusual to go by horse somewhere. It's just for fun, actually, in this case. And here on the lower right picture, you see that also the paths, or well, streets, you cannot even call it streets, it's more the path. In the eco-village, it's only clay and no concrete. So it's also very close to nature, because only in an emergency cars can go there. There should be no car in the eco-village. The parking side is outside in the beginning. I mean, at the end, at entrance. Yeah, and for instance, there is a pond in the middle, which is at the same time fire protection pond. I mean, to getting water out of the pond, and a biotope for a lot of small animals like frogs and so on, and for bathing, and also in winter for ice skating. I have used it for this as well. Yeah, and here's some impressions from the community life. Though this is 3 times a year, there is a retreat for several days where the entire community is invited to take part, and where, yeah, larger questions or decisions are discussed. But not only organizational topics, but also to connect on a more emotional level, so that people can share how they feel at the moment, and if they have problems in their life, if they want to share. It's in this community, it's quite on a voluntary base and not necessarily so close. Yeah, but still there are some rituals here on the right side. You see these pictures. So in the upper right, this was here, I'm there also. That was the ritual when I became a member of the cooperative. So after a year of trial period. So, and these 4 others as well, we were together, those who joined the community in this year. And so we shared how we feel and whatever, if we still have questions. And then we did the step over these, line into the community. Yeah, that was a nice symbol. And on the lower right, well, these are some people doing rituals, that not always the entire community. This was, I guess, something for children also, with the elements and so on. So just as an example. And then the not so nice part of the eco-village is that the entire eco-village only have compost toilets because there's only a biological sewage treatment plant. And but it's quite a good system. So with, what do you call it? With air, not air condition. So there is something, the air is going from the toilet, so you won't smell something, and it's quite okay. But it's a job to empty all these toilets. Yeah. Yeah, and still, I mean, with 160 people living there and 6,000 guests, we just have this little biological sewage treatment plant, because the toilet is not going in there. It's just the normal gray water from the kitchen and the bathrooms. So that's really a big point in terms of saving water, drinking water. Yeah, okay. I hope you're more or less in time, Lauren.
Yeah, we actually had one question in the chat before we go into the breakout. Caitlin and Daniel were asking if the community is income sharing.
No, it's not. Sieben Linden has a lot of, I mean, the houses, the land is all in shared property. So this is a cooperative and an association, or they have actually 2 associations and 2 cooperatives, to be precise. But it's not income sharing. So everyone has to care for its own income. And living there is quite cheap, because, I mean, when I lived there, I paid around, 600-700 euros for like everything. I mean, I lived in a house in a small room with a shared kitchen. I had complete biological food. I mean, everything, meals from a buffet, but also taking everything from the cellar I wanted. And so it's nearly all included, and the car sharing pool. And yeah, so that's actually not very expensive in Germany. And but still you have to earn your own money. And children are free, for instance. But these are like rules you can think about. Is there rent or membership fees? Yes, of course. Yeah, and you have an entrance fee. For becoming a member of the cooperative, we had to pay more than 10,000 euros. But then everyone is a co-owner. And if you leave the community, you will get it back. Just 1,500 will stay into the community as an entrance fee. Yeah. What does childcare and elder care look like? Yeah. Yeah, so childcare is very nice in Sieben Linden because the cars stay outside. The children can really move quite freely, even the small ones already, because there's not much danger there. I mean, also we have no dangerous animals in Germany or so. So they can move for themselves, and the flats are also open most. Yeah, it's not locked. I cannot say that very publicly, but yeah, I mean, it's really a neighborhood. I think also in Ithaca that we had last time as a case study, I guess it's similar. When I saw the houses there, it's a bit similar, the building structure. And yeah, it's really also the elderly people. Yeah. For instance, when I was there was an old man. He was 80 years old then, and he was a bit, how do you say, like Alzheimer, a bit, yeah, you know what I mean? He didn't, and yeah. So I went to him or not just me, but someone from the community went to him like every day for lunch. And we were bringing lunch to him from the community kitchen and eating with him and taking care. Is everything okay? And does he take his medication and so on? And so, yeah, it was a bit like taking care. So this works. But of course, if someone really needs more help, that needs to be done in a professional way. Yeah, but so it doesn't really, well, in this sense, but there are other communities that try to implement more elder people care. But this is a big thing, I guess. And in Germany, of course, we have insurance for all that anyway. And so it's quite a good thing. But the elderly people are included and can be cared for, and that's a good way. Is there any other way to pay the 10,000 euro, like as payment plan or work share? Yeah, I mean, there are cases where young people who do not have this amount of money, that they find their private supporters. So it's always, you need to find supporters, person who really want to have you into the community. And then that, in most of the cases, that has worked because, yeah. Well, as a payment plan, I have not heard of work share. That's probably, yeah, maybe that can work as well. Especially people who are good in handcraft work and like building houses and so on. This is, of course, they are very needed. And the next question is there. What are the common jobs people have to support themselves? Well, nowadays, of course, there's a lot with computer work. Yeah, I mean, when I was living there, I was working for university in Vienna and just went there like every 3 months or so, and could work there at the computer. And others have their, one person works for translating movies from English into German or so. And so they can work at the computer. And of course, there are also jobs in the community, mainly in the seminar house with all these guests, of course. This is the main income. And also in the forest. So, of course, we need people who cut the trees for making firewood for us, and those who work in the garden growing the vegetables. So there are a few jobs for this, which is paid by the membership fees of all members community. Yeah. What other? Yeah. I love the English translation. Yeah, I will put this on the platform, the English translation of the 7 commitments. I will do that, so you can all have this. Right, Lauren? That goes in the best, I think, in the community chat we have.
The group chat.
Yeah, the group chat. Do people work for the community? Yeah, I think I answered this already. But the children, there is school and daycare. There is a kindergarten, a forest kindergarten for the children. And a school is very difficult in Germany to found because it's ruled by the state. So there is, they had found a school before when they were at a different spot with a smaller community. Actually, there was a pre-Ecovillage community. So that was really a long process to set up all this. And there is a free school that was set up, but it's 50 kilometers away. So that's quite a distance. And concerning the children, the parents decide where they go. So some go to the normal state school, some go to this free school 50 kilometers away, and some, that's a bit difficult and not so legal in Germany, I guess. But and there are also some who go to how is it called? Like they're going to Berlin and live there. The teenager students, they go already to Berlin and live there in the city and go to a school there. So there are different cases there. Daycare for children is, beside this forest kindergarten, there is nothing. It can be self-organized. I mean, the parents, they often self-organize. And then it works. Or, there are also conflicts around it. I mean, I don't have children. I myself, I had a little girl that I took care about some afternoons or so every week. And that was nice because the mother was alone without a father. And so she really needed others to support her. And that was really nice. Yeah, but it depends on self-organization. Do you know what type of conflict resolution they use? Yeah, sure. There is, it depends on the case. I mean, we have, of course, nonviolent communication. Yeah, Marshall Rosenberg. This is a base that is, practiced a lot. I mean, not everyone is educated or has done the courses, but it's more like a general, how can I say it, like a communication culture, like the style, how we communicate, that we try to speak from ourselves. So we say, okay, I feel not so good about your suggestion or what you said right now. And not just you have to, like this is something also to practice. And this is in such a community, if there is a core group who really have this communication culture, the others will find in, and it works over the years. And of course, for these retreat types that I mentioned, that we have like 3 a year, 3 per year. We most of the time have coaches from outside coming, and they also teach or introduce a method or something. So there's a lot of different methods also used, and some stay and some not, and some are popular and some disappear again. So it depends. Yeah, and of course, it's also, I mean, the forum, maybe, I don't know if you know this method, it comes from a German community, and they had also a tour over the years through the USA to teach this method. It's called the Social Forum from ZEC community. And if you're interested, I can introduce this the next time or one of the next calls. That's really efficient, and many communities using this for conflict resolution, for tough conflicts as well. So, yeah. Yeah, why did I leave? Yeah, I was living 3 years there, but it's really, I really like Sieben Linden. It's a great community, but I see my task to be a person who, I'm a researcher, I'm an experimenter. So, and this community was already so perfect. So that was not my place for long term. And I wanted to set up a research center or a kind of university or something like Cynthia set up here, and it was not, so easy there because it was already perfect and settled. And so, this is the disadvantage about these communities who are already so established. You cannot change so much anymore. Yeah, this is, you have to adapt then if you join as a member. And that's probably also why you want to be a community founder and not a community finder, maybe. So that's with me the case as well. So we have a lot of questions. Lauren, shall we go on? And I mean, we can.
Maybe. We could add, there's one last question, which was related to what Caitlin and Nathaniel said. If some people were paid to work in the gardens or cut the firewood, were there any time requirements for all members for hands-on labor? And then we'll get to the breakouts.
Oh, yes. We have to do, I guess it was 15 hours per month. We have to do voluntary community work or something like this, or 20 hours per month. And well, mostly it's in the kitchen, actually, in the community kitchen. Most of the hours needs to be done there. And there is a professional cook. And then I was working there just as a helping hand, just cutting all the veggies and something and doing these things. So, and there are also like cleaning words or emptying the compost toilets, like these kind of things, of course. Yeah. So there is, there is a social pressure kind of thing that you do these hours. And I think it makes sense because it makes everything cheaper, of course, if we do our voluntary hours. It depends. The more voluntary hours you have, the cheaper it can be. The less you have to pay the work. That's a decision.